graphing the equation. So we're not going to be graphing today in our notebooks, but on the assignment, you're going to have 4 problems, and you're going to complete the function table and then graph it, okay? So in our notes today, we're just going to be completing the function tables. If you are still on your Chromebook, you need to go ahead and put that away, please. So if everyone will write this equation in their notes, please. The equation is y equals negative 2x plus 2. Now this is considered a linear equation, and we will talk about the difference in linear and nonlinear tomorrow. But this is a linear equation. And we are going to be able to make a function table. Now a function table is when you have x and y values. And sometimes you'll see function tables that are kind of made horizontally like this. And I like those because it saves a lot of space. But sometimes you will also see them written vertically like this. And those are fine too. Okay? So on your assignment today, you're going to see them written horizontally, once again, just because it saves space. But know that they can be written either way, and it's still considered a function table. All right. Now, we could choose any value we wanted, any number we wanted for x. We could put it into our equation, and then we could figure out what y is. But I'm going to start off with giving you values of x. I'd like for you, next to the x, put a negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. Raise your hand if you've done one of these types of things before. See, I had a feeling. So again, what we're going to be doing is substituting in these 5 different numbers for x and figuring out what y is if x is a negative 2, a negative 1, 0, 1, or 2. Okay? So let's say if x is negative 2. So if I put in a negative 2 here, and I'm not going to make you show that because I think that a lot of you can do it mentally because these equations aren't too hard. What is negative 2 times negative 2? 4. A negative 2 times a negative 2 is a positive 4, and then 4 plus 2 is 6. So you put a 6 down there. Now we do negative 1. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2, and then 2 plus 2 is 4. Okay. All right, let me back up then. Okay, for this one right here, I'm replacing the x with a negative 2. So it's going to be y equals negative 2 times negative 2 plus 2. Okay, I'm replacing the x with a negative 2. That's the only difference I made in that equation up there. Right? All right. So negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4. And then 4 plus 2 is 6. So the y equals 6. Okay? And then we started doing it for the negative 1. So y equals negative 2 times negative 1 plus 2. Again, I'm only replacing the x. That's the only difference that I'm doing here. Okay? Replacing that x. Maybe that'll help you see it a little bit better. So negative 2 times negative 1 is a positive 2, and 2 plus 2 is 4. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2, and 2 plus 2 is 4. Let's do it if x is 0. So y equals negative 2 times 0 plus 2. It's usually the easiest one when you have 0. Okay, so again, my only difference there is that you have a 0. Negative 2 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 2 is 2. Now before I do the last two, do you notice a pattern? It goes down 2 each time. So you should see a pattern in all of these. That's what makes it a linear function table, just by looking at the function table itself. Okay? So we should know the next one should be 0. Should be 0. All the ones today are linear, yes. Okay? So if we, again, I'm not going to show all of these, and I don't expect for you to show all of this. All right? So negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, and negative 2 plus 2 is 0, so that's right. And then replacing the x with a 2. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4, and negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. So again, we're not going to graph in your notes, but what you would do then is, I'm going to get rid of this work down here, okay, so I have some space. What we have now is we have 5 ordered pairs. Our first ordered pair is negative 2, 6, our x and y value. Then our second ordered pair is negative 1, 4, 0, 2, 1, 0, and 2, negative 2. So you will have graph paper on your assignment, and you will put these 5 points on the same graph, and they should all form a line, and then you connect the dots to form a straight line. Okay, you will do it on your assignment. You don't need to do it in your notes. Okay. Let's do another one. Let's say that y equals 1/2 x minus 3. And for our x values, let's use negative 4, negative 2, 0, 2, and 4. I'm going to be giving you those x values on your assignment as well. But know that if you ever need to make your own function table, that you really can choose any x values that you want. But if you just choose random numbers, like if I just chose 19, 23, negative 4, 8, 0, if there's not a pattern in my x's, there's definitely not going to be a pattern in my y's either. Okay? So you can see though that I do have a pattern here. It goes, what? Every time it goes up 2. It goes up 2. We're adding 2 each time. Okay. So if you need to show your work, then you can, but I'm not requiring anyone to show it. Okay? So we're replacing the x with a negative 4. So 1/2 times negative 4 minus 3. Okay, I know that some of you, as soon as you see a fraction, you tense up. First of all, a positive times a negative is a negative. And then what's half of 4? 2. So 1/2 times negative 4 is negative 2. And then we're subtracting 3 from that. You can use your calculators if you really have trouble. But negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. Now the reason that I chose these x values is because I can take half of all of these numbers, so it makes it a little bit easier. So like this one would be 1/2 times negative 2 minus 3. Again, a positive times a negative is a negative, and half of 2 is 1. So 1/2 times negative 2 is negative 1. And then negative 1 minus 3, negative 4. Very good. The next one's easy, isn't it? Because you have 1/2 times 0, so that's gone. 0 minus 3, negative 3. We can see a pattern now, right? It goes, you're adding 1. I know it looks like you're taking 1 away, but you're not. You're adding 1 each time. So the next one should be negative 2, and it should be negative 1. Now, you could absolutely check them. Half of 2 is 1, 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Half of 4 is 2, 2 minus 3 is negative 1. And then you would graph those 5 points on your assignment. Make sense? Everybody, we're good? I thought someone asked something.